Hello, my name is Tommy the Keyblade Master, and welcome to my channel. Now, if you notice the background behind me here is different today, that's because it fits the game I'm doing. And if you recognize that background, then chances are you're probably over 30. Now, I've been wanting to do this game for a time now, but haven't been able to do it due to technological limitations, or I should say, because I have technology now that isn't limited enough. If you have ever played Duck Hunt on a new TV, well, all you managed to do was this. Poor dog, you maimed him cruelly. You made him just laugh his ass off at you. So as you can see, it's kind of worthless to play on an old NES using the Zapper if you got a new TV. I have heard multiple reasons. Mainly that the screen is different, or that it's different resolution, or even that it's lag that caused it. But whatever the reason is, you try to play a light gun game on a modern day TV using the NES Zapper, that is what will happen. By the way, I captured that using a real NES cartridge and a real Zapper. It's authentic, that's what will happen. So needless to say, for the last several years since the Wii Virtual Console has been released, gamers have been wanting a copy of Duck Hunt. Now, for those who don't know, an NES Zapper, which is seen here, is completely different than the Wii Remote, even though, the Wii Remote does a lot of really great light gun games. Mainly because a light gun takes a picture of the screen and then analyzes it for the right pixels to determine the kill, while the Wii Remote uses infrared to track its position on the screen. Needless to say, the Wii Remote will need a cursor. So it took a while for Nintendo to decide how to best do a new Duck Hunt game using the Wii Remote. They finally released one a little while ago, and I'm reviewing it here. It's about time they gave us this game, Sonny. Should have been released on the original Wii when they released that plastic paperweight they called the Zapper instead of that crappy game called Link's Crossbow Training. And why was Link's Crossbow Training crappy in your opinion? It wasn't Duck Hunt. Alright, what you heard is just the old fart argument for why Link's Crossbow Training should not have been included with the Wii Zapper because it's not Duck Hunt. Now, it wasn't just some of the random fans on message boards complaining about this. I saw some professional game reviewers that said, well, they should have put in Duck Hunt and forget Link's Crossbow Training. And it's like, really? Have you gone back to play Duck Hunt recently? A lot of times when you hear old fart arguments, they are from people who want to defend their childhood so much that they haven't actually gone back and experienced these things from childhood as an adult. When I see people bashing the new Ninja Turtles cartoon, they obviously probably haven't watched an episode of the classic cartoon they're so fond of in a long time. The classic cartoon has several great episodes, but there's a lot of crappy, just over-the-top cheesy episodes that, as an adult, I don't enjoy. Same thing with Link's Crossbow Training here. It's a really great way of using a new light gun game and introducing it to the Wii. Duck Hunt, on the other hand, just does not last as long. It has some old school charm, and we will be looking at that today, but it's just not as great as Link's Crossbow Training, in my opinion. There is no story in Duck Hunt, so let's move on to the graphics. They're pretty good for its time. This was a launched NES game and later came bundled in with Super Mario Bros., so the graphics are kind of primitive for NES standards, but they still hold up relatively well today. The graphics in Duck Hunt are pretty good for the NES standards of 1985. You do have some really big sprites that are somewhat well animated, although there's only one or two animations for the dog. For the most part, he still looks good. This was back in the time when a circle wasn't a square, we were impressed. Added into this version of Duck Hunt is that reticle. As I said before, the Wii Remote is not a light gun like a Zapper, so it needs a reticle to track it. And for the most part, that little reticle does look like it would be at home in a 8-bit NES game. So Nintendo did a good job making it fit in. The real graphical spectacle comes, though, in the third mode, which is clay shooting. The clay pigeons actually kind of have this rendering where they actually get smaller and harder to shoot as they fly back in the distance. You can also see some mountains off in the distance. Again, in 1985, this was kind of spectacular graphics. We were kind of used to black backgrounds and, again, circles that looked more like squares. So again, this really did shock a lot of people. Moving on to the sound of this game. The game's sound is okay, I guess. You get one or two musical jingles at the beginning, and there is a musical jingle when the dog jumps up with the duck. Now, you also have background sounds of the duck flapping and quacking, but for the most part it's pretty basic and simple, even for the NES standards of its time. Now, I will give Nintendo credit for one thing, and it's a nice improvement to the gameplay. When the zapper is pressed, the B button on the zapper is pressed to shoot at a duck, you will hear a sound of a spring going in and out as you push in and out of the button. This is meant to represent the spring on the NES Zapper. And it was pretty accurate for the most part. There's also slight vibration to give you the feel as this, spring going in and out. Now, because the Wii Zapper does not have the resistance that the NES Zapper's trigger did, it's not a complete one-on-one, but I applaud Nintendo's effort to make the game sound and feel like the real Zapper. On to the clay shooting. There's a few more extra sounds here. Mainly you hear this odd whirring sound as the clays are fired at you and they get further away from you as you try to shoot them. Again, it's pretty basic sound. And I will admit, due to that sound and just the way the clay pigeons looked, I thought I was shooting at UFOs in this game when I was a kid. Onto the gameplay of Duck Hunt. Basically, the idea is that ducks will jump out of the brush and you will have to shoot them. There are two modes, one duck or two duck, and one duck you only shoot at one duck at a time. It's pretty simple, although as the game gets harder, that one duck gets smarter and moves a lot faster. In two ducks, you shoot at two ducks at a time. Same principle, except in two ducks, the ducks don't quite move as fast as the game gets harder. So one duck, the duck gets really smart later on. Two ducks, they both remain pretty simple. They just get faster. So that's the different, smarter duck versus two dumb ones, I guess, to shoot at. Then there is the clay shooting mode, which I've pointed out, where you shoot at clay pigeons as they are thrown out and get harder to hit in the background. Again, the game gets faster as you move on and progress. You progress by shooting a certain amount of ducks per round. As you can see on the very bottom of the screen, there is a bunch of duck icons in that line. When at the end of the game, when the thing is tallied, if the red ducks that you've killed are reach out past that line, you move on forward. If there's still white on that line, that means you've missed too many ducks and you get a game over plus a giggling dog. Now, as far as the cursor that they've added in goes, it's pretty accurate for the most part. It's a little jumpy, but I think that's the way Nintendo intended it, because the Zapper could be a little jumpy. And it's not always 100% accurate. There are times where I should have gotten a near miss, and I managed to hit the duck anyways. I should also say, and it's my biggest complaint in the game, is they took out the flash from the original game. And that flash was obviously meant to help the Zapper locate the ducks. They don't need it in the Wii version, but as someone who's very nostalgic towards the game, it just seems odd not to have that flash there whenever you pull the trigger. It took me a few minutes to get used to it. Now, here are my complaints against this game, though. There's only really 3 modes. One duck, two duck, and skeet shooting. All of them are pretty simple compared to modern-day flash gun games where you'll have multiple stages with a lot of things coming at you. You get 2 targets in this one. It's charming, it's fun, and they last about 10 minutes each, so the whole game will pretty much be done unless you got a huge crowd over for a party that just loves Duck Hunt in over half an hour. So, not much to see here, and that is my problem with Duck Hunt. It's not that I don't think Nintendo did a good job, it's not that I don't think it deserves to be played, it's just there's not much to it. It's why I kind of laughed and people were like, Link's crossbow training should have been changed to Duck Hunt, because Link's crossbow training lasts at least twice as long. Now, much like my last game I reviewed, Home Alone, Duck Hunt kind of is the same way. I can't really give it a good rating, although it's better than Home Alone was. They weren't aiming for mediocrity. The problem here is age. It had some charm back in the day, having two targets to shoot out back in the day that looked like real ducks for something. And like I said, a whole lot of charm. That's why a lot of people my age have nostalgic memories. That said, it hasn't aged well, nor does it last very long. We're talking about probably 15-minute games here. That said, there are worse games to blow $5 on. I'm going to be reviewing such game I blew $5 on recently and is a complete crap next. And then I'm going to start on my Chain of Memories review for my Kingdom Hearts reviews and guides that I've been doing. So that's what to look forward to next on my channel. Anyways, Duck Hunt, you could do worse for $5, but you can also do better. And I do have one more complaint about the game, and it's a big one. After all these years, and after having to do a lot of editing and remaking of this game, they still don't allow you to plug that giggling dog. Oh well, at least there's always Photoshop and video editing. After 30 years, I got that giggling bastard. Hope you enjoyed the video. Click here to subscribe.